My name is Bob Steenlage from Britt, Iowa, and I was the first person to win the state championship 4 years in a row. The senior year was like life in itself because of all the things that happened. First of all, the coach that I had my 7th grade through my junior year, he left during the summer of my junior year, and he was like my surrogate father, and I never found out about it till football practice in the fall. And that was a total shock, and that was a determining moment on attitude again. Are you going to feel sorry for yourself, or are you going to try to hope for the best and look for the best? Well, as it turned out, the coach that I did get my senior year, Jim Craig, turned out to be just the type of personality and coach that I needed for the obstacles that I faced my senior year. And then I hurt my back in wrestling practice going takedowns with him, and he was a 90-pounder and I was a 20-pounder, and so the doctors told me I wouldn't be able to wrestle ever again, and so I went to a chiropractor and he worked on me and I was able to wrestle, but I didn't get back to practice until about 10 days before the tournaments. I had to wrestle Ron Barker from Osage in the semifinals, and then of course the papers predicted that I would lose to him. Barely won by the score of 7-5, but after that match I knew that I was hurt. And we never found out about it till Sunday morning that I actually had a separated shoulder. During that match in the finals, I was wrestling with one arm, and there were several times that his foot was pulling out, and I just felt it because one of my assets was a good grip. And I thought, what am I going to do now? And I looked down, and his foot would be about 2 or 3 inches away from my hand, and all of a sudden it brought back. And I remember thinking at the time, what is going on here? Looking back, like I was supposed to win this no matter what. And without having complete understanding why or anything, but it was that dramatic. So anyway, the match ended up to be a 2-2 tie. And of course they wanted to check on writing time, and they were going to be very careful. And of course the whole auditorium was watching this thing, and my coach, he felt responsible that I hurt my back. So he felt if I lost this match, he'd have to live with it the rest of his life, that it was his fault. But anyway, this went on for a long, long time. And finally, after all the referees talking everything, finally the referee heads back to the mat. And I put my eyeballs on his eyeballs, looking for some kind of sign. No sign at all. No indication of anything. So he has us shake hands, and by this time my arm is tightening up. And he grabs my arm, puts it up in the air, and I remember it was just like a shot of pain, down to my foot. And sorry for getting emotional, but it was just, he said, "Son, I'd like to congratulate you because you've just won the state championship for the 4th time." And then I looked over at my coach, and just like the weight of the world had been lifted off of him. And then I looked at my teammates, never saw them cry, and they got tears coming down their eyes. And I walked off the mat. I didn't jump up and down, walked off the mat, and it just seemed like a dream. And my teammates and I walked out in the hallway, and they're making this announcement, and the announcement says, "For the first time in the history of the world." And then somebody says, "That's not right. I think somebody did it in another state last year." And then they made some sounds and moved the mic around, and they said, "Correction, for the first time ever in the state of Iowa, somebody's won the state championship." And for the 4th time. And then everybody started clapping, stood up. And then I looked at my mom and grandmother up in the crowd. And it was worth every bit of sacrifice. And that moment has affected the rest of my life in many ways because of what you got to go through to get there, the obstacles, and what it stood for. It was much more than just win the state championship 4 years in a row. It was like life, the lessons you can learn, the lessons you can apply the rest of your life. And I remember it. It was 50 years ago in February, and I remember it just exactly like yesterday. My name is Bob Steenlage. I was the first 4-time state champion.